welcome to episode 2 of our must-watch Asian horror movies. I'm going to be a little less serious in this episode as we go to Thailand and have a look at this well-regarded modern teen horror flick, Siam Square. From the same studio that brought us the awful movie Viral comes this production, featured on quite a few top 10 and 20 must-watch Asian horror movie lists on the internet. I want to let you know that the movies that I talk about in this series aren't the best Asian horror movies of all time. They're just decent movies, and I think you can enjoy them. Hi, I'm the Auntie Dance from Asian Film Fans, and alongside my friends from Movies and Mania, we're going to take a detailed look at this movie and many more throughout 2021. Just a heads up, this is a movie discussion. I've tried to keep this as spoiler-free as I can, but there is a discussion about the plot, characters, and themes that appear in this movie. Set in the teen hangout of Siam Square, firmly in the heart of Bangkok, where the latest in fashion, food, and entertainment combine to create the Thai equivalent of Shibuya, we follow a rather large group of teens who frequent the area and attend a cram school, a place where they can do extra studies before they undertake their university entrance exams. Unbeknownst to the teens, their cram school, called Key, is a known location for the Siam Square urban legend. The ghost of a lost schoolgirl who can be found late at night in one of the classrooms. She sits on a particular chair, covered in red yarn, and has the ability to both emulate other people and enter their dreams. When the person awakes from their dream, they find a red yarn attached to their right wrist, an indication they've been marked for death. The ghost also has the ability to divide friends and pit them against each other, allowing them to see the truth about what others think about them. We follow a group of teens from several schools who meet at the cram location, as they try to work out how they can stop the ghost from taking their lives after they accidentally make contact with her in the classroom. This movie is from the same production and effect house behind the movie Viral, which came out a year after this, and I've covered in a previous video on the worst Asian horror movie series. It really is a terrible film, full of stupid storylines, horrible characters, bad acting, and a complete lack of logic and atmosphere. This movie is the complete opposite of that, and strangely, this one came out first. Also returning are two of the lead actors from Viral, but in smaller roles. First is Ploy Sornanen, who plays the ghost Nid. Unlike her character in Viral, she has emotions, a real backstory, and without the pressures of being a main character, she does a great job. Secondly is Nuthasit Kotimanuswanich, who plays the horrible boyfriend character in Viral. In this movie, he plays Mon, one of the 3 boys who makes ghost videos on YouTube and have turned up to the cram school to see if they can capture the urban legend on video. Online reviews for this movie have it sitting in the average pile, but I'll tell you why I disagree with that. A lot of people seem to be confused by the way the story's told. Most of the movie is a type of flashback or story, retelling the events of what led up to the opening scene of the movie. In other words, the intro scene really should occur about 2/3 of the way into the film. However, this approach works well because it gets the movie off to a very interesting start. We have 2 students in a room waiting for the others to arrive. We have a girl who seems to be unremorseful and a boy who is demanding answers when a group of worried teens bursts into the room. Then we are given the backstory about what led them to the predicament they're in. The scares in this movie are also secondary to the human drama. This easily could have been either a silly little ghost movie or a teen coming of age drama. Instead, what we get is a mixture of both, and it works well. Once the characters work out who the ghost is, we realise she's been there all along. But then we realise that she's also had an even longer effect on their lives, turning friend against friend, or helping amplify the feelings of hate. It's all there, and you will miss it until you realise what's going on. Having said that, there is a rather confusing and unexplained element, which is how the boys work out how to defeat the ghost. It made no sense how they were able to work it out so easily, but I'm willing to overlook that. While May is considered the main character of the movie, the real standout is Jublé. She's May's best friend. She studies hard and tries to do the right thing, helping May out as much as possible. But it's not until they both attend the cram school that she realizes she's doing far more for May than what May does for her. Part of me was thinking, was this the influence of the ghost on Jublé? Speaking of May, she's the typical pretty and popular girl. Although we don't really see too much of this in this film, we do know that one of the boys has a crush on her, but she treats him like dirt. And it's not until the boys reveal to her towards the finale of the film that Nid is the ghost of the missing girl. Nid is the ghost with the sad backstory. She thought she was popular and she thought everyone liked her. But as she discovers when her best friend Dal returns a friendship book to her, she didn't have any idea how her friends saw her. There is some slight confusion, at least with me, over Nid and the ghost. The ghost is supposed to be a manifestation of Nid's emotions for being rejected so harshly by her friends, which is why the ghost is supposed to target people who want to get rid of someone they hate or help people realize that others don't essentially like them. Nid manifests in human form after Jublé tells May the truth. May and Khumwan, the boy madly in love with her who she hates, find her passed out in the girls' toilets and take her home. May and Nid then form a friendship where Nid tries to help her mend her friendship with Jublé, but instead ends up discovering that Jublé's mother is actually her friend from high school who wrote all the horrible things in her friendship book. A bit of trivia, the actress who plays Jublé also plays the teenage version of her mother. The confusion for me then continued in how Nid and the ghost were active at the same time, leading the audience to conclude they aren't the same entity. Now you might be thinking, they obviously aren't, if that's the case. However, the urban legend began after Nid went missing back in 1988, leading me to believe that the ghost was a manifestation of Nid's anger and resentment, two character traits she no longer possesses in human form. Rather, she's full of sadness and guilt. All the confusion about the ghosts aside, the real meat of this movie lies with the school kids and all the drama between them. There is the obvious fractured relationship between Jublé and May, with both of them having different goals and aspirations that don't align anymore. On top of that is May's relationship with the mysterious who is it person that she keeps texting. Additionally, there is the beginning of a budding romance between the pretty girl Fern and Khumwan. He's shy, but he likes her. She's very forthcoming and tries her hardest to start a romance, eventually giving up when she realizes he isn't pursuing her the way she prefers. He is part of the ghost hunting YouTube channel hilariously called Ghost Your Dad. They are hunting for their next YouTube viral hit, aren't we all? And managed to film the ghost at the cram school. These guys add some much needed comedy to the film, as well as some smarts. They're good characters. While this movie, at times, can rely on one of the worst tropes in horror movies, that is, the jump scare, they're done quite well. They're seamlessly integrated into the film and not dwelled on. There's no ridiculous build-up to them, and the emphasis when they do happen isn't over the top. There's no jump out of your seat sounds. There's a flash and some imagery and a character screaming, and the movie continues. Other than at the end, where the effects crew get to have some fun in the classroom, there was a scene I really enjoyed at one of the boys, Khumwan's house, when they are reviewing footage of their ghost hunting. While I realise I've spoilt some parts of this movie already in this video, I'd like you to experience this scene without me telling you any more, and I'd like to know in the comment section if you enjoyed it. I expected a lot from this movie, and in the end, it delivered. I wasn't after a scarefest, I was after something more chilling and atmospheric with an interesting story, and that's what I got with this film. The young cast is both pretty and they're well directed, with the effects being a secondary part of this movie, not the main part. This is where a lot of modern Hollywood horror films fall apart. They emphasize too much on getting those grotesque visuals right to try and scare the audience, that they forget to actually make a decent film. A great example being The Nun. This isn't the best Thai horror movie out there. It's not at the same level as Shudder, for example, but it is damn good, and it is probably a movie you haven't heard of. Yet. When a movie appears on a lot of must-watch lists, it makes me curious. At first I thought all these lists were written by the same person, but no, they're not. Initially I was disappointed, as it was from the same crew as Viral, and I did watch Viral months before I watched this, but after firing up the trailer, I realised there could be something special here. Yes, this is a teen horror, but it's not a slasher. There's only one death in this movie, and you don't even get to see it. If anything, this is more of a mystery horror thriller than your traditional full-on scarefest, but it's definitely worth watching. If you've seen this movie, what did you think? I hope you enjoyed this detailed look at Siam Square. We have many more best of and worst of Asian horror movies to look at over the coming year, so if you're interested, please press the like button and consider subscribing to watch the latest videos as they're released.